Have you ever accidentally picked up someone else's child? I don't know, but this is what happened in Arkansas just a few weeks ago.
It's a parent's worst nightmare, not knowing where your child is. And for Sammy Chipman, that nightmare came true Friday when she went to pick up her son Ridge from daycare at Paragould's Tiny Blessings.
They tried to hand me a child, which was not mine. I asked them multiple times where my child was, and they asked me, "Are you sure this isn't your child?" And obviously, I knew that's not my child.
Chipman panicked, not knowing where her little guy was. And according to a Paragould police report, another parent, Kyle Cross, checked their child out around 30 minutes earlier, which made her and her husband even more worried.
We had no idea who this man was, where he was, where he went. We still don't know where he went the entire time he was gone with him.
In that time frame, anything could have happened, to him, and there's no telling what he did. But all that really matters is that he's safe, he's healthy.
According to the report, employees at the daycare were worried Cross was intoxicated due to the, quote, mannerisms and the odor of suspected marijuana emitting from his person. And as Chipman thinks back on it even more, she has the same question we all do. How do you take a child home that's not yours?
How could you not know that's your child? How could you take someone else's child and feel no regret about it, no remorse?
When Cross returned to Tiny Blessings with the child, an altercation started in the parking lot between both sets of parents and the staff. When tempers finally cooled and a day or two passed, Tiny Blessings announced new, stricter policies when parents or guardians pick up their children, which their owner said was because of, quote, COVID restrictions, but Chipman doesn't believe it for a second.
The reason they're putting all these new protocols in is due to COVID regulations, which is not true. This is not why they're doing this. By law, they're supposed to have a sign-in, sign-out sheet. They are supposed to show IDs. There's a lot of stuff that they have not been doing that they're supposed to be doing.
When I spoke with one of the owners, Kimberly Baker, she said it's important to know the baby was not stolen and released a statement reading, "We are cooperating with all investigations concerning a matter that happened Friday. We are cooperating with families, state, and local DHS authorities. But the damage is done." And Chipman said she doesn't know if she will be able to trust again.
Of course, I trust our families and our really close friends, but as of right now, just the daycare setting really scares me. So,
You and I can only imagine what that mother of the 3-month-old was going through for an entire hour, not understanding, not realizing, not even being able to comprehend where her 3-month-old baby was. This is something that simply can't happen. As we talk about time and time again, we have an ultimate responsibility. We have the 3 C's. We have the care, we have the custody, and we have the control of those children that are in our care. And that means a big, massive responsibility. We can't let things like this happen. We shouldn't let things like this happen. But I understand that staffing is more challenging than ever. So maybe it's time to hit that pause button and really reflect on your sign in and sign out procedures. And are there ways to make 100% sure that the child you're sending home is with the proper parent? With this influx that we have in our industry of substitute teachers and teachers floating between classrooms and simply not having enough staff to cover our daily needs, these types of situations can and sadly do happen. So we need to think about these policies. We need to think about these procedures. We want to shore these things up to make sure that this is not our program that ends up on the nightly news. We also want to be thinking about normal everyday operations. And if they work well, then how do we translate these to when it's chaos, when it's emergencies, when it's disasters? Because one of the most important things that you're going to be tasked with in an emergency is reunification of those kids with their families. And if we're struggling to make this happen on a daily basis, then believe me, we're not going to be very good at it in an emergency situation. Isn't that true? So think about those resources that you have. If you have some of the software that's out there, there's real simple ways to add photos, isn't there? That way you've got a photo and you can match it up and make sure that that child is going home with the proper parents or guardians. If you don't have a fancy software system, hey, let's go old school with it. Everybody's got a phone. Every phone takes pictures. It's nothing to take pictures of each kid, make a little sheet. This is the child's name. This is the child's date of birth. These are the parents or guardians that are allowed to pick up this child. And quite honestly, I've seen programs that even take pictures of the parents or guardians. That way, again, there's simply no mistake. If you think about some of the horrific things that have happened, Sandy Hook and the reunification efforts there, gosh, Hurricane Katrina, where it took almost 8 months to reunite the last child with their family. These are just horrific situations, and then compounded on top of it when we can't get timely reunification to happen. Let's take this as a learning opportunity to relook at our policies and our procedures, making sure that all of our staff, whether they're just there for the first time or whether they're substitutes or whether they've been with us for 20 years, let's make sure everybody's on the same page when it comes to handing over that custody, that legal transfer of care between our program and those parents or guardians. For the Institute for Childhood Preparedness, my name's Andy Rozak. Stay safe out there.